everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of the podcast, or the Survival Prep Roundtable. I am Jason, and starting over on my left on Google Plus is we've got Adam Bradbury. Adam, how are you doing today?
Doing great, Jason. Good to be on.
All right. Going down the line, because I'm in the middle, to my right is Kyle Santee. Kyle.
I think you have me muted.
I don't think so. I can hear you.
Oh, there we go. Now I fixed it. What's up? Glad to be here.
And finally, the man of the hour, Mr. Mike Caldwell, the host of the Evolution of the Apocalypse podcast.
What's going on, guys?
All right. So, this is the first episode of the Survival Prep Roundtable. This is our introduction episode. This is the one that where we kind of tell you why we started this, who we are, and one thing that we've got in our bug out, go bag, whatever you want to call it. And just in case you're joining this and you don't know what survival prep is, I'm going to actually throw this over to the man of Roughing It, the Survivor's Journal, Mr. Adam Bradbury. Can you kind of explain what prepping for survival is, what it means?
What it means to me, just being prepared for anything, man. The old Boy Scout saying, be prepared. That's what it's all about. Prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the way that I look at it. You know, when people think of prepping, you know, one thing they tend to think about is the TV show that was on last year, where there's people hoarding stuff away in their walls and stuff like that, which is fine. I think everybody has their own style. But for me, being prepared is more than just keeping food stocked up. It's about knowing the skills, having the gear, and knowing how to use the gear properly. And that's exactly it. Prepping is, I guess you could say it's a hobby, it's a skill, but survival is a mindset. It's more of a way of life, knowing what's going to get you killed and what's not, really.
All right. And that noise you hear would be Mr. Mike Caldwell opening up a beer. So I'm going to talk to him before he takes a drink, before he takes a swig.
All right. What's up?
Mike, can you kind of give people a little bit of your background into survival?
Well, I grew up as an outdoors kid. I was in the Boy Scouts, hunting, fishing. Grew up in the outside, you know, pretty much my entire childhood. From the time I could walk, I was shooting a gun. By the time I was 5 or 6, you know, just all those. I'm losing sound. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, something got really weird there. But yeah, so I grew up in the outdoors. I grew up hunting, fishing. Survival is not just a prep; it's a way of life. To me, I prepare. You know, the uncertain future that we have in this world right now causes us to have to get ready, and that's what we're doing here.
And right next to you, Mr. Kyle Santee, you're kind of the rest of us have been prepping. We've been in Boy Scouts. Yeah, you're a newbie compared to the rest of us. What got you into it?
I don't know. Nothing really. I mean, I enjoy... Yeah, right, Mike. I more or less enjoy talking about it and talking about what could happen and what you would do in that situation. And so, you know, I love Walking Dead and all that. I love zombies before Walking Dead, but that, you know, brought... Zombies is huge right now because of Walking Dead. But, you know, I just like talking about it. And my dad was a cop, so, you know, I get some of the, I guess, quote, street smarts from him and stuff like that. But, you know, like you said, prepping and survival is completely different. So I'm not really a prepper. I'm more of like, you know, I enjoy the survival end of the stuff more than prepping.
No, that's perfectly fine. Real quick about my background, I've been an outdoorsman for my entire life. Grew up in the woods. I'm an Eagle Scout, and one of the things that I like most about Boy Scouts and about being outside is actually the survival aspect of it. Camping is fun. I certainly enjoy that. But there's something that I always liked about going out and doing these survival tracks, getting the survival skills, the survival mindset, and learning. It's an independence thing. You know, when you know that you have the skills and have the ability to not have to rely on our creature comforts that we've all grown accustomed to, then you tend not to worry as much, not because you're naive, but simply because you know that you can handle whatever's out there.
Definitely.
And the last person, you know, we talked to him earlier, but we didn't quite have him give his background. Adam, can you tell us a little bit about your background in survival and how you started the Survival Journal?
Well, like you, I was a Boy Scout as a kid, and just like you said, man, I loved the survival aspect. I grew up in southern Missouri in the Ozarks, so I mean, there was times when I was a kid. You know, we lived on a farm. We had a bunch of acreage. I'd load up a lunch, take my compass, I'd go out in the woods, and I would try to get lost. You know, I would do that purposely just to see if I could find my way back. And, you know, so growing up on a farm, learning how to shoot, learning how to hunt, you know, being the Boy Scouts, all that stuff, it's just kind of followed me to my adult years. And I've got a family, and I got a wife and a kid that really enjoy doing it with me. You know, we love going out. We'll take our bug out bags and we'll go out on hikes for the day and just basically try to live off of them for the day. Now me, you know, as far as my roughing it videos, I kind of started off with, you know, I did an overnight survival trip and decided to go ahead and videotape it, and I did that, and it just kind of rolled into there. So, you know, I've got the YouTube channel now where I'm making videos and demonstrating gear and tactics and tips and tricks and stuff like that for surviving.
Where can they find your channel?
Yeah, it's Real Roughing It. That's RUFFNIT on YouTube. I also got a Facebook page for it. It's Roughing It. That's RUFNIT Survivors Journal. And we're always posting up stuff on there.
All right. And, you know, kind of back to Mike, Evolution of the Apocalypse, your podcast, and we're all podcasters here in one form or another, whether it's audio or video. That you're kind of a mashup between survival and horror and beer drinking.
Yeah. So how this all came about was I'm from Evolution of the Apocalypse. You go over, you know, to our Facebook page. We have a YouTube channel, EOTA Podcast. And what it was I met up with a buddy of mine, Matt, who's my co-host on Evolution of the Apocalypse, and we had a common interest, which was horror. And at the time, I was really getting back into survival again. I kind of went away from it for a few years, you know, with kids and everything. I kind of just like fell off it for a little bit with a new job that I gotten. And got back into it and got talking to Matt, and he showed interest in survival. So, and we had a common interest, which was beer, like you said. So we came up with this idea that we had, which turned out to be Evolution of the Apocalypse, where we talk a survival topic or two, drink beer, and then we jump into horror, rather it be zombies or just straight up horror. And that's how that came about. So.
And I got to say, that's one thing I think we all have in common too, is our love of zombies.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think a lot of that
definitely.
has to. I think a lot of that has to relate, like what Kyle was saying about the whole survival. I mean, I like the zombie, the horror aspect of it, but honestly, I like the survival. Are they going to survive? How are they going to do it? You know?
Definitely.
Yeah. And you know, and our YouTube channel, we pick a product or a topic and we talk about it on that channel. We did one with Adam. We mashed up where we sent him a Gerber knife and a SOG knife, and he put them up to the test, and he destroyed them. But
that he did.
You know,
Yes, I did.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that video was really cool.
Yeah, so I mean, that's what we're about. And one of the cool things I think that this podcast is going to bring is we're all in different locations in the country. which is, and and as far as Kyle goes, he's not too far from me, but like he said, he's not as into it as we are yet. Having that person that doesn't have that full background or that more experienced background is going to be nice, because not only are we going to be able to teach him, but he's going to learn and be able to teach other people and grow, as well as all of us learning tips from Missouri and Dakota and all that stuff. So I think it's going to be really, really cool for all of us to get together and do this. And
not only that, but I'm sure there's a lot of stuff we're going to learn from him. I'm sure he's got a lot of ideas that none of us have ever thought about.
Oh yeah, I mean, Kyle's been on our show, Evolutionary Apocalypse, a couple times, and he's brought some great ideas, some great topics and stuff, and it's a fresh face or a fresh voice sometimes is nice, because you can get a different feel for things you haven't thought about before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly it. When you've been doing stuff as fast or as long as many people have, it's kind of that old cliche, you get set in your ways, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And I think, with us, that's part of the reason for starting the roundtable, is that, like you said, we're all in different areas. I've been doing survival, but I primarily concentrate on the area that I live in, which is either the northern Midwest, which is Michigan, where I'm surrounded by water on 3 sides. There's water all the way around me. Or when I was living in the Pacific Northwest, which again, there's always water. I mean, it was a rainforest up there. So,
hold on, where did I say you were from? Did I mess that up?
You said Missouri.
I said Dakota.
You said Dakota.
Or Dakotas, yeah, that's right.
My fault.
But so that's where I think it's great, is that in that I've gotten used to the way that I do survival because I know my terrain. And anybody that's watched the TV show Dual Survival, I love watching them, because especially in the first couple seasons when they had Cody and who was the other guy? Now it's Joe, but they had the other guy.
I forget his name. He lied to get on that show, didn't he? He made up his resume or something like that.
Yeah, that's the rumor. I'm not sure I actually believe the...
His name was Dave Canterbury.
Yeah, Dave Canterbury.
That show's really cool. I like that show a lot.
He actually has a really cool YouTube channel. If you guys ever get a chance to check it out. I like him a lot. I mean, I don't know what happened there, but I still follow him a lot. So.
Yeah, I like Dave because, especially because he's from Ohio. So it's very similar to what I'm used to dealing with here in Michigan. But what I was going to say real quick about that is I'm going to assume that the Discovery Channel or whoever vetted him pretty good. They didn't just, say, here's an application and he got it.
Mm-hmm. So, he obviously knew what he was doing.
Yeah, that's the other thing. He knew his stuff. So
and I still watch the show, but I liked it better when Dave was on there more for some reason.
But what I liked about that is that you had Dave from the north, and you had Cody, who was from the desert.
Yeah.
And they had completely different views on survival. And I think that's what's great, Here I am in the north, and Adam, you're in the mountains.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say, and like me, I mean, Kyle, I don't know where exactly he lives in Pennsylvania, but, me, I'm like in the mix between urban and woodland. I have a little bit of both. So, I mean, I bring that aspect.
Yeah, I'm about the same, but I'm probably closer to a city than you are.
Wilmington.
That doesn't count.
Doesn't count.
What were you going to say, Adam? You were going to talk about the mountains.
Well, no, I was going to say, you were saying being familiar with your terrain and what you're used to, man. I think about it all the time. Going out in the desert, how would I survive? I would have a really hard time, because the skills that I know and I practice are for the area that I'm in now. So, I mean, here in Missouri, we got tons of water, tons of woods. So, I mean, I carry my Berkey bottle or, my water filtration systems and stuff like that. I can go to, there's always going to be some source of water within just minutes. But you go out in the desert, it's a totally different frame of mind.
It is. And in Michigan, I think the golden rule is you're never more than 6 minutes from a major body of water.
Mm-hmm.
And so water is one of them. I'm the same way. I don't think about having to transport large quantities of water. because I don't I that's my terrain, and so having the different backgrounds, I think it's going to be definitely be good, and that's why I wanted a round table rather than just, here's me or here's me and Mike or here's, I want the more people, the better, I guess, within reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree.
All right. With that, one thing that I didn't say is that this is actually broadcast live via Google Plus Hangouts on air. And coming up soon, we will have a website called Survival Prep Roundtable. And as soon as I get that URL and get that site built, you'll be able to go there. And we'll have all of the videos from Adam and Kyle and myself. Anything that we want to put on there, we'll go there. That it'll be
But not
a
Mike.
website dedicated to survival.
Yeah,
and that'll.
I'm looking forward to that too.
And then also with that, we will also have a Google phone number or some way to reach us. SpeakPipe. We will have an email address. We will have ways for you guys to get a hold of us. We don't have that right now because this is kind of our. What would you call this episode? This is not only our introduction. This is our test run.
Oh, yeah, trial episode.
Our pilot.
Yeah,
Pilot, there you go. That's how to say it. Our pilot run.
So it'll be interesting to see how this all turns out. And I
One
think
thing
I'm
I have
out of,
no- Oh, go ahead.
oh,
You
go
want me-
ahead.
okay. I'll say one thing that I think that the podcast community lacks is a really good survival show. Not just like a prepping show or not just here's how you grow plants. A show that really gets down to the nuts and bolts of survival and survival prep. Not prepping like hoarding food, but survival prep. How to prep yourself to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's not enough of that out there. So I think this show is really going to get down into those topics, and we're really going to be able to hash out a lot of cool things, being that we are all from different parts of the country,
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, and with that, one thing that we're going to do is we're going to pull out one thing that we grabbed that we use for prepping for survival, something that either we pulled out of our bug out bag or it's in our house for our bug in. For me, it's for my bug out bag, and in order to see these things, you do have to go to our webpage when it's built and watch the video. But what I have is actually a survival knife that I was able to find, and I'll hold this up right here. It's kind of hard because video is reversed, so trying to remember which way I have to move it to hold it up. But it's up here. What this is this is a survival knife that's actually, it's a throwing knife that I picked up at a gun show. And I picked it up and I felt it and I thought, man, this is comfortable. It fits well in my hand. It's full tang, so it's metal from front to back, tip to snout. I don't know what the hell you call the back. But it's full tang all the way through. It's balanced if I wanted to throw it, although I can't. Or I can, but I can't hit what I'm throwing at. And it's wrapped with paracord.
Nice.
Which is another
nice.
thing that, worst case scenario, I can take the paracord off here, use that, and I still have a fully functional knife.
How many feet how many feet of paracord do you think is on that?
Maybe
If you
10.
had to guess. 10, that's pretty good though. Now is that double edged?
No, it's single edged, but the back up here, you kind of have an edge that goes down to right about there.
Oh, okay. All right.
So right about maybe an inch or two.
Very nice.
Practice throwing it though, man. One thing I'm
Yeah.
going to preach is,
Yeah,
if
definitely.
you're going to practice these skills, or if you're going to buy the stuff, practice with your equipment. Get out there and use it.
And practice with your non-dominant hand as well, too.
Yes.
Oh
Yep,
yeah, the
that's
funny
something,
side.
that's something. Yeah, that's something Kyle brought to me last week or week before that I never even thought about. So I mean, that's
No.
a great thing. Practice how to tie, like Kyle said, practice how to tie your shoes with your non-dominant hand, or
Yeah, even
you know.
even driving your car, because I always drive with my left hand. But if my left hand's broken, not that it would be hard to drive, but you still got to practice. Trying to, if you got to make a quick escape and your arm's broken, you got to drive with your right hand and you're not used to it, it'll be a little different. So
Practice driving a stick shift with your opposite hand.
you have to reach all the way across.
Or maybe learn how to drive a stick shift.
Mike's got to teach me.
All right.
All right, we'll start at the end. Mike, what do you got?
What I brought is, we do have a lot of water sources around here, but the problem is not all of them are clean. So what I brought was the McNet, water filter here. I did a video on it a while back. It's small. It's like 15 or 18 bucks on Amazon. It's got the bite valve here. Filter goes in. What I really like about this water filter is it's inlined with your Camelback. So if you have like a Camelback with the quick disconnect, you can actually input this right in there and filter straight from from your bag. You put dirty water in your bag and filter straight through, which is really cool. And then it also comes with a drinking tube you can attach to it to drink straight out of the source. Or what I think is really cool, if you have a water heater, like say you know everybody's got a water heater in the house, but that water's not necessarily clean to drink. You actually take this end cap off here, and this here will screw it directly into your water heater, and you can drink straight from your water heater, or push that tab and it'll come out of the water heater straight into whatever source of wherever bag you want to put it in.
Nice.
So yeah,
That's awesome. Is that a ceramic filter?
It's like it's kind of hard. There is ceramic in it, but it's got a pre-filter. It's got charcoal, like I don't know if you guys can see or not, but there's charcoal inside, and then you put another pre-filter in there. And each pre-filter will do about 50 gallons of water before you got to rechange it. It's not a lot, but you're talking inline filter. I mean, it's small, it's lightweight. I mean, you're talking, when it's attached.
And it's a lot easier than having to use a pump filter when you're in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, I got one of those too, and I did a video on 3 different water filters, and I'll tell you, the McNet Frontier Pro is the way to go, man. I mean, it's small, it's light, it'll hang from your bag. You can put it in your bag. You're not going to get much smaller or lighter than that. So,
well, and 50 gallons too. That's quite a bit if you think about it. Think about my rule. I know a lot of people's rule of thumb is like 1 or 2 gallons per person per day, but I like to prep for about 3 gallons per day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, you got a family of 5. That's 15 gallons per day. That thing will last you a week.
Well, and you're talking when they say that 2 gallons a day, they're also talking washing and everything else. Drinking alone,
right.
1 gallon is generally more than enough for a person to survive a day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but it's always good to have that little bit of extra, though.
Yeah.
But water is an important source in survival. So I mean, this is one of the things I picked up recently that I can't say enough good about. I mean, it's just an awesome filter. So go check them out.
Kyle, what do you got?
I got my Smith & Wesson SD9.
Nice.
I just use it for when I go to the range. I don't carry it or anything. I don't have a carry permit, so maybe eventually one day I'll get it. But I just use it for home defense. I know 9 isn't really the greatest for home defense, but I also have a fiance that is not super handy with guns yet, so a 9, isn't too scary for her to use, but just in case I'm not around and she needs to quick grab a gun and protect herself, so a 9 isn't going to go flying out of her hand.
A 9 is plenty, man. I mean, there's 22. I mean, it's going to stop. It's going to hurt.
Yeah.
So a 9mm, that's the majority of what I have, what we carry. My wife has one. I have one.
Me too.
A personal carry, home defense. I mean, I've got 3 or 4 9mm, and I think it's a great round when you can find them.
Yeah. Did the same thing. I bought for my wife a 9mm. Simply because we went to the shooting range and she tried shooting my 40, and 40 was too much for her. And in my opinion, the firearm that you want to have is the one that you can handle.
Yeah, the one that you're most comfortable with.
Right.
Here's the thing, too. How many rounds can you put in that clip, Kyle?
16 and 1.
Okay. 16 rounds in somebody's body? They're not getting up.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's a 22 or 45.
I love the 9mm round, personally. I mean, I have a 45. I have a 1911, which I think is a great gun. But I'm not as accurate with it. It less magazine capacity. And in a survival situation, you're more likely to find 9mm rounds than you are 45.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm a firm believer, I carry a 40. not because I can't handle a 45, but because I'm more comfortable shooting a 40. I'd like that round. To me, it's got enough transfer of energy that I think you need, and I'm more comfortable with a 40 than a 45. That's my personal preference.
Yeah.
Yeah, and coming from a newbie to all you other newbies out there, don't let anybody tell you what gun you need to get. Don't say, "Oh, you're a pussy if you don't get a 45." It's like, no, go to the range, rent a couple guns. You know, whether it be revolver or semi-auto, just mess around with every gun that you can find, and then grab the one that you like, and don't care about what other people are telling you to get.
A gun should feel good in your hand. It should feel like an
Right.
extension of your arm.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't feel right, don't buy it.
And also, it might not feel great
But,
right away either. This 9 that I have, I mean, it took me a while to sight it in, but once I sighted it in, it's great now. So
Yeah. Awesome.
But on the other hand, too, I prefer to keep the same round firearms. You know, so like all of my guns, all of my handguns are 9mm. So that way, I've always got 9mm laying around, and I can swap them out to any of the guns that I need to. You know, same thing like my wife and I both have ARs with 223s. You know, I think the only oddball one that we have is she has a 380 that she carries as her EDC. But you know, it's good to be able to have those options though too. But there again, it's whatever feels comfortable for you.
Yeah. Jason brought that to my attention a while back on my podcast. where I
That was our
talking-
first introduction to each other.
That was our and you know, I said something about carrying a 9mm, and then maybe a shotgun, and what else did I say?
You said a carry. You know, you
Oh,
kind of followed my field of thought, which is have a long, medium, and short.
Yeah, and I had a Ruger
And,
1022, a 9mm pistol, and a shotgun. And then you brought to my attention, why not get a 22 pistol? If you know, we're going into the zombie aspect of things there, but I mean, still, if you break it down and you're going out, like if you're in a survival situation, a 22 is really more than enough. I mean, a well-placed shot will take any small to medium-sized game out. So, you know, so you're not carrying 9mm, you're not carrying 22, you're not carrying 12 gauge. You limit your capacity, your weight.
yeah,
And on the 22s, I mean, they've got, you know, you can get the cheapy, you know, Remington white or the Winchester white boxes that'll shoot, you know, 1,000 feet per minute. But on the other side of that, you can get the CCI Stingers, dude. Those things shoot like almost 1,600 feet per second, I believe.
Yeah, they're wicked.
I mean, that's got some knockdown power. If somebody walks in and most of the time, if in a home defense situation, you're only shooting 7 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's it. So a 22 at 1,500 feet per second at 7-8 yards, man, that's going to hurt somebody. It doesn't matter how heavy of a coat they're wearing. It's going to go through and it's going to hurt them, and they're going to run.
And here's the thing: they don't know what they got hit by.
Exactly.
Right.
You know what I mean? They
Right.
don't know if it was a 9mm or a 45 or a 12 gauge shotgun. They just got hit.
Yeah.
They're going down.
And that's why they say actually a shotgun is probably the best home defense, not because of the takedown, but because of the sound of it.
Yes.
You come out of your room, somebody's walking down the hall, you come out of your room, they hear that very, very distinct click, click, they're running. Yeah, that right there.
Yes.
Yeah, that sound, you're going to take off running.
I purposely leave when I load my gun, I make it so, like my home defense gun that I have in the closet, I make it so I have to rack it one time.
Yeah.
Gives, a warning, like, hey, get out or you're going to get shot.
Exactly.
Right, that's exactly it. And not only that, the reason that I also like shotguns for home defense is because generally you're shooting in the dark.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People tend not to come into break into houses. They either wait until you're gone, in which case it doesn't matter, or if you are home, it tends to be at night when they have the cover of darkness. In that case, you're more shooting in a direction than you are being able to aim. And in that case, you want something that is going to have the most spread and the least amount of actual fine motor skills, so that you can just basically shoot from the hip if need be.
Point and click,
Yep.
Yeah.
because you're going to hit something at that range, you know what I mean, with a shotgun.
I can remember when I was going through the academy, and we were doing training for the first time I was doing training for night, and I'm a pretty decent shot. You know, I'm not like what people see on TV where, you know, I can shoot a person in the leg at 100 yards, you know, one-handed. But, you know, I was slightly, I was above average for my class. And then the first time, because I always went to the range, I always shot during the day. It was always at a standing position. And then what they did is they took me and we had to go to the range at night. And we shot a few times, and, you know, you kind of have to get your eyes adjusted. You have to, you know, kind of, you're shooting at silhouettes is really what you're doing. And by silhouettes, I mean, you know, you're doing that anyway, but your eyes really have to readjust. You have a hard time seeing the front of your sight. Then they up the ante, knowing that when you do end up shooting, you're going to be panicking. Your heart's going to be racing. You're going to be... So they actually had us start from 300 yards away. We had to sprint up to the shooting range or shooting line, draw our weapon, and fire 5 shots and hit the target at night. Mm-hmm. And I could tell you, I sprinted up there. I pulled my weapon, and my hand never shook so bad.
And that's not even, and nobody's shooting back at you either.
No.
That's just training. Just imagine when someone's shooting back at you.
So that's a part of the prep, you know. Get out of your comfort zone. It's really comfortable to go to a range and to stand there and put, you know, a couple boxes into a paper target. Try varying it up. Go out into the woods, find an open range, do something. Sprint, get your heart rate going. Practice doing things under pressure. Practice shooting from the ground. Practice other different ways, not just standing in the square or the Windsor stance.
Just because you play Call of Duty doesn't mean you could shoot.
That's right. Here's something that my wife and I actually do ever so often, and I recommend this to anybody at home. I'll have her be in the bedroom, sitting on the bed, laying on the bed, whatever, and, you know, she knows where her pistol's at.
Where's this going, Adam?
Oh, yeah. I'll tell her, I say, I'm going to go to the front door. As soon as you hear that front door open, I want you to get your gun out, and I want you to put the mag in, because most of the time, the ones that we keep here, you know, we have the mags out. And I want to see how far I can get before you come out in the hallway. And we just practice it. You know, practice getting up out of bed, practice grabbing it, see how fast you can load it, see how fast you can get to your bedroom door or to the front door or wherever. And
learn how to shoot from cover.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what you should do on top of that is do it at like 2 in the morning and wake her up, because it's completely
Make
different.
Make sure you unload her weapon first.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah.
Do it with an empty magazine.
Yeah.
I tell you what, there's a great thing out there called snap caps. Have you guys heard of these?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, practice with snap caps. It's just basically a dummy round you put in there, and they snap. You shoot them just like normal. And practice with snap caps. There was a guy around me a couple weeks ago who thought he put a snap cap in his gun, a shotgun, and shot it at the ground. And don't you know, 9 buckshots came back up and hit him in the face. So be safe with what you're doing. Make sure if you're going to do something like that, make sure you actually load the snap cap in there, or just be real careful, because accidents do happen.
And always have a second person double check you.
Yeah. Don't assume anything is going to be okay just because you think it's okay.
Right.
All right, and over on the end, Brad, what do you have for show and tell today?
Well, it's Adam, but
Adam Bradbury.
I get that all the time, man.
I was like, "Where's Brad? I don't see Brad."
I'll probably call you that a few more times.
I got I don't know if you can see it. It is a Savage 93R17. It's a 17 HMR.
Ooh,
I got
nice
a sweet 17 scope on it, BSA, and I got the Boyd's SS Evolution skeleton stock on it. I couldn't do the thumb.
How do you
love
like
it,
that,
dude.
Boyd's?
I love it, man. Yeah, it's a great stock. It's super comfortable. I couldn't do the thumb hole because I'm left-handed and I always shoot right-handed guns. So the thumb hole stock really doesn't work for me. But the main reason I bought this is just because of the shortage of 22. Right now, you go to any Walmart or most any of the gun stores, and they've got a ton of 17 ammo on the shelf. And it's a little bit more expensive, but it's available.
It's a nice round.
Doesn't that seem crazy that there's a shortage of 22? I mean, I can remember
that's
it wasn't that long ago. They were selling 22s at every big box store. You could go down to the hardware store. I'm pretty sure you could buy them at 7-Eleven.
Yeah, you could buy a 525 round box for like $30, I think, or something like that.
Dude, they were cheaper than that here. You used to be able to get a 550 round box here for $7.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's
I
crazy.
wish.
But this round, the 17 HMR round, though, I mean, it's super high velocity. I think it runs like 2,300 feet per second. And it's, you figure 17, that's the size
that's like that's almost 22-250 range.
Yeah, exactly. And I have a small swinging target, and it's eighth inch steel. And I was out shooting at this target, and it was putting at about 50 yards, and it was putting holes through that eighth inch steel. I mean, I got pictures of it. I couldn't believe it. I thought my buddy was shooting it with his .223 until I realized, what it and the size of it. I mean, it looked like the size of the holes was about the size of a 9mm. So it's definitely got some penetration. So I mean, it's good for long range hunting. It's good for squirrel hunting, which is what I typically do. I'm a big squirrel hunter. But you can, I mean, if you had to, you could take down a deer with it, as long as you put the shot in the right spot.
And it's a good survival gun.
Exactly.
It's an all-around caliber.
And when the zombies hit, you can snipe them from a rooftop.
Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Bing!
What was it in Dawn of the Dead remake where they're Burt Reynolds?
Jay Leno.
Oh, yeah, they're shooting the celebrity lookalikes.
Yep. So that's my little show and tell for the night.
All right. Well,
Nice.
I think, we talked for almost 40 minutes. So I don't have anything left to say unless anybody else wants to say something. I want to thank you guys for doing this, and thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it. And as time goes on, what we're hoping is that not only will we have the round table in here, but we'll also have people in the chat room to be able to give their input, ask their questions, give their opinions.
Yeah, so if you're hearing the podcast on the feed or whatever, come join us live. I mean, come talk to us. We would love to, get random off-the-wall topics, from you guys. So, come join us. And you get to see us, our pretty faces.
So subscribe to this podcast, and in the next one, by the time our next one comes out, we will have contact information for you to get a hold of us. This was kind of our trial run, and it turned out much better than I was expecting.
Took a while to set it up and everything, but once we got it going, it was good.
Yeah. And with that, I want to thank you guys one last time. On our next episode, which we don't know if it's going to be next week, next month, in 2 weeks, we're hoping for bi-weekly. Wasn't that what we were hoping for?
Yeah.
That's good with me.
Yeah, I think we can do that.
We were hoping for bi-weekly. On our next one, we're going to go back to the basics. And for me, the very basics is your bug-out bag. Go bag, whatever you want to call it. I don't care if it's a box. What do you put in it? And should you buy it pre-made or make it yourself? That is going to be the roundtable discussion. All right. So I want to thank you guys once again. We're going to kind of tell you where you can find us. I'm Jason. I run the Creepercast Horror Podcast, where you can find me personally at creepercast.com. Adam?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube. My YouTube channel is Real Ruffin' It. That's RUFFNIT. And check out my Facebook page. It's Ruffin' It. That's one F. Survivor's Journal. And make sure to give us a like. And that's about it.
All right. Kyle?
I guess you could find me every once in a while on Evolution Apocalypse.
Yeah, you're becoming pretty regular there.
Yeah. Other than that, I kind of started with talking with Mike. He kind of convinced me to start this Walking Dead remix YouTube channel, which we discussed a little bit on the Evo podcast. So I just make, just random Walking Dead videos and music videos, and I did one with the movie Dead Snow.
Which was awesome, dude. First of all, that movie holds a place in my heart. I love that film. And
I like that movie too.
You did Bullet with a Name with it. Was it? No, it wasn't.
Oh, no. Bullet with a Name was the Walking Dead one.
You did, which was the one.
Again We Rise.
Again We
by
Rise.
Lamb of God.
Which was great because in the video, the zombies are coming. It was great.
Well, that's why I told when we were doing the top 5 songs. That's what I envision when I hear that song. Like I was saying, that's what I envision when I hear that song. So that's kind of like I was basically showing everybody what I'm thinking of when that song comes on, I guess.
It's great.
But yeah, Walking Dead remix. That's the one YouTube channel. I also do goalie training. I don't know how many survivalists are looking to get goalie training or not, but
you never know, man. You never know.
It'll test your reflexes.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go. That's just Kyle Santee, goalie trainer, on Facebook or YouTube or any of those places. So that's pretty much all I got. I don't have Twitter.
All right, Mike.
All right, you can kind of find me all over the place. You can find me at evolutionaryapocalypse.com. I'm the whore. You can find me at evolutionaryapocalypse.com. You can find me on Facebook. You can look Mike Caldwell, or you can look give us a like, Evolutionary Apocalypse on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter at MikeyXD9. You can find us on horrornews.net. You can find our YouTube channel at EOTA Podcast, all one word. If you need to contact me, you can contact me via Twitter or evolutionaryapocalypse@gmail.com.
All right. And I think with that, let's get the music up. Thank you guys again, and we'll see you next week, or in 2 weeks, or when our next
Whenever
one comes.
we do it.
I still believe in a life after death, like the time while the ghosts around my bed. This is not a disease or illusion. I still believe you should live without regret. Life inside what you want, I cannot give. Don't you know who